Hello and welcome to the Key Stage 4 Options Parents Briefing for 2022. My name is Mr. Taylor. I'm the Assistant Head Teacher for Curriculum and I'm in charge of the options process. The purpose of this briefing is to provide information about the whole curriculum offer and the process that will follow after tonight, and the opportunity to find out some more detailed subject information. I'd like to introduce you to learning pathways. Your option choices will be guided by which learning pathway you follow. Learning pathways are designed to optimise your achievement by guiding you to courses that best suit your individual learning needs. There are three learning pathways that you can follow: the academic, the technical and the applied. The academic pathway is one that includes the EBAC range of GCSE subjects and/or triple science. The technical pathway is a mixed and balanced pathway made up of GCSE subjects, technical awards and other vocational qualifications. The applied pathway has a more hands-on approach, made up of core compulsory GCSEs and vocational qualifications. Learning pathways are designed to provide a clear progression through your education from Key Stage 4, Post 16 and on to your destinations when you finish school. Currently you're here at the Key Stage 3 options, where you're choosing the subjects you're going to take over Key Stage 4. In the Key Stage 4 area you can see the three pathways. Typically an academic pathway would lead on to sixth form, studying A levels or applied generals, and then on to university or a higher level apprenticeship when you finish school. The technical pathway will also lead to sixth form, applied generals, but sometimes apprenticeships and college. They'll also lead on to university, higher level apprenticeships or employment. The applied pathway typically leads on to apprenticeships or college at post 16, which in turn leads to employment or a higher level apprenticeship when they finish their courses. So what will you study next year? Your subjects are broken into two main groups: the core subjects and the optional subjects. Core subjects are the subjects that everyone has to take. Optional subjects are the ones that you're going to choose over the next couple of weeks. So let's take a look at the core subjects. You will take a GCSE in English language and a GCSE in English literature. You'll also take one in maths. Most students will follow combined science. This is worth 2 GCSEs. Some selected students will be able to take triple science, and this is worth 3 GCSEs, one each for biology, chemistry and physics. There are also some non-qualification foundation subjects. These are subjects that you have to take, but there are no qualifications attached to them. They are in RE, PE and PSHE. Now let's take a look at the open subjects. Firstly, you'll be asked to choose a humanity option, either geography or history, although there may be opportunity for you to take both. Once you've chosen your humanity, you can then choose a further 2 subjects from the open option subjects. GCSEs are now graded on a 9-to-1 grading system, with 9 being the highest grade awarded and 1 being the lowest. In the table you can see how the old A* to G grading system compares to the new system. Not all subjects are graded on 9-to-1. If you are taking a technical or vocational qualification, they are graded on a pass, merit and distinction grading system, with a distinction being the highest grade and a pass the lowest. I'd now like to take you through the options that we have in Science and RE. In Science, most students will study the combined science with 2 GCSEs. A small number of students will be offered the opportunity to take triple science, which has separate GCSEs in biology, chemistry and physics. These students will be placed on the academic STEM pathway. For religious studies, all students will need to take core RE. If, however, you wish to take religious studies as a subject, you can now do so as an option. I'd now like to take you through some of the subject choices that you have on each of the different pathways. We'll start with the academic EBAC pathway. Alongside your compulsory core subjects, you must take a humanity option of either geography or history. Your language option is pre-selected because you must take a modern foreign language in order to achieve the EBAC. You do, however, have the opportunity to opt out of the EBAC if you really don't want to take French. If you have taken French, then you can choose one more subject from the open options. If you have chosen to opt out of French, then you may choose 2 subjects from the open options. Next, let's look at the academic STEM pathway option subjects. Alongside your compulsory core subjects, you will choose your humanity option of either geography or history. You will then be asked to choose your STEM option, which is either triple science or engineering. Once you've made those selections, you can then choose one more subject from the open options. Most students will follow the technical pathway. The main difference between this pathway and the academic is that unfortunately students on this pathway won't be able to take triple science or French. Instead, they will follow combined science as a compulsory core subject. They will have the opportunity to choose between a humanity, either geography or history, but on this pathway you do get to choose 2 subjects from the open option. We believe that some of the students on the technical pathway are still able to achieve the EBAC. They do this by taking French as one of their options. They will still take combined science. They will choose a humanity option, either geography or history. Obviously, there will be a language option, which is French, or the opportunity to opt out. But they'll also be able to choose one of the open options. Those students following the applied pathway will also follow combined science. They will choose between geography or history, and they will get to choose 2 subjects from the open option. Once you have selected your first choice option subjects, you will be asked to select some reserve options. Reserve options are the subjects you would select if you cannot do your first choice subjects. The reason I ask for reserve options is that it's not always possible to give you your first choice. This is due to the complexities of timetabling. It is therefore really important that you give as much thought into your reserve options as you do into your first choice. There are some important do's and don'ts when choosing your option subjects. Do find out exactly what each course involves by reading the details in your options booklet and talking to the teachers. Ask your teachers and tutors for advice on what they think you'll be good at and what's your future potential in the subject. Consider the types of jobs you want to do in the future and what qualifications and what level of qualification you need. Do be careful not to close any doors at this stage because you may need certain qualifications later. Try and get the right balance. And do take into account your interests and your future career plans. And now the don'ts. Don't choose a subject because your friend is doing it. They might not have to be on the same career path as you. And don't avoid a subject because you don't like the teacher. Although you may end up with a teacher of that subject, at Key Stage 4, often you have a different teacher. And don't pick a subject because you think it's going to be easy. All subjects have their challenges. I'm now going to take you through the options process. What happens once you've picked your subjects and you've returned your form? Once all the options forms have been received, the subjects are then sorted into option blocks. Option blocks are groups of subjects that can be taught at the same time on the timetable. The subjects you opt for will need to fall into different option blocks. The option block a subject falls into is decided by a best fit process, aiming to give as many students their first choice options as possible. Most students will get their first choice options, but there will be cases when a small number of students' first choice options don't fit into the option blocks decided by the best fit. If your first choice options both fall into the same block, I will use the most suitable reserve subject. If there are too many students opting for a subject, I will liaise with the subject leader or head of faculty to decide if there are any students more suited to an alternative subject. In this case, I will again use your most suitable reserve subject. Now, not getting your first choice option can be quite upsetting, and although I try my hardest to give everybody their first choice, sometimes this is impossible. It is therefore really important that you give as much thought into the subjects you choose as a reserve as your first choice. You will be able to discuss your allocated options with me if you wish to make changes. And as long as your new subject choices fall into the correct blocks and there are spaces available on those subjects, you will be able to swap. But once options are confirmed, you can't change them. Here are some frequently asked questions that students ask me. Will I have to do more homework and independent study? Well, the answer to that is yes. You'll now get about an hour's homework per week for every subject that you take. Who can help me choose? Well, lots of people can help you choose. Your parents, your tutors, and your teachers. Start having conversations with them and talk about what you like doing and what you think you'll be successful in and whether they relate to your future ambitions and career choices. Can I change my mind later? To an extent. Up until May, you'll be able to come and speak to me to see if we can change the options that you've chosen. But once the Term 6 timetable gets underway, your options will then be fixed and we're going to struggle to change your subject. Will I definitely have all the subjects I asked for? Well, as I've said earlier, it's not always possible to give you your first choice subjects. I try really hard to make sure everyone does, but some people may end up having their reserve choices. So think really carefully about those reserves. And just one thing, remember that the job you'll be doing in the future probably doesn't even exist yet. Okay, so I'd just like to run through some important dates with you. Yesterday, Year 9 had an options assembly with me where I introduced them to the options process. Obviously this evening, we're here having a briefing for parents. On the 28th, I'm going to run a second briefing for those students that are away in Blaisby, whose parents wish to come, and that'll be from 6 o'clock till 7 in the sixth form centre. On the 3rd of March is Parents' Evening, Year 9 Parents' Evening, that you can have the subject staff to ask about their courses and whether you'd be suited to it. And then the following week, on the 10th of March, this is the deadline for the option forms to be handed in. Obviously, you can hand them in before this date, but they've got to be in by the 10th. I'll try to let you know beforehand, but by the 20th of May, we will be confirming your options, ready to start the new timetable and your new courses when the new Term 6 timetable starts in June. So how do you go about submitting your options? Well, you'll be asked to complete an options form. These forms will be sent to you on a link as an assignment on the Year 9 Google Classroom. Each form is pathway specific to you, so once you've completed it, you then press submit and it'll be sent to me. Follow the instructions on the form carefully and you only need to complete it once. So, who do you go to for different advice and guidance? Well, your form tutor and your house leader, they're all able to offer you advice and guidance on the whole options process. Your subject teachers can give you some idea about your suitability for the course and information about their subject. And your parents, they know you best of all. Begin talking about this now. The curriculum and careers team are myself, I'm the curriculum leader, Mr. Taylor, and our careers leader is Miss Musto. We're more than happy to talk to you about your option choices and ambitions for the future and see how well they match up. I hope you found the options information video useful. If you have any further questions or need any more information about the options process, then please feel free to contact me on the email address on the slide. I've also included the Year 9 Google Classroom joining code in case your child is not a member of that classroom. There now follows some more detailed information on each of the subjects. Please feel free to pause the video if you wish to read in more detail.